Hello, nerds and ghouls. So, I said this week that I was going to be doing a video every single day about Doctor Who because, it is the 21-year anniversary of our beloved little show coming back onto air in 2005 on the 26th of March, I believe it is. So, every day leading up to the anniversary, I am going to be doing a video specifically about our beloved Ninth Doctor. So, today I want to talk about casting. I want to talk about who was supposed to be the Ninth Doctor because finding him was a difficult feat. Finding the companions, less so. So, to reboot a series like this, a beloved classic that, tried to do a reboot in the 90s and, the movie just wasn't it. I love the movie, do not get me wrong. Paul McGann is my favourite Doctor. But it just wasn't the revival that we needed or that we thought it would be, right? So, who could possibly fill these shoes? One name that was in the running, bizarrely, was Judi Dench. Bear in mind, it was 2005. So, obviously, her career was still big, but she wasn't, sort of as old as she is now, because obviously she is an older lady now, and she is struggling to sort of read the scripts for parts and things like that. But obviously, 20 years ago, she wasn't. She was sort of in the prime of her career. So a name like hers was thrown around. We also had Alan Cumming, and I would have been so excited to see what he could do with the Doctor. So he was even in talks about it, apparently. This is obviously heavily based on rumour and articles and things like that that came out in like the early 2000s about this casting and have come out since. So Alan Cumming has now been on Doctor Who twice. So he could have been the Ninth Doctor, but that means that we maybe wouldn't have got Mr. Ringading. We maybe, wouldn't have got the King and the Witchfinders that he played. To be fair, of the Jodie era, that is one of my favourite episodes, I must say, but I love Alan Cumming, so that's, I think he would have been great. Again, 2005, the era of him doing Floop and Spy Kids. The era of, his career when he was doing things like Cabaret and, those sorts of roles, right? So I really like the idea of Alan Cumming as the Doctor, I can't lie. And I kind of wonder whether he would have done his own accent. I wonder whether he would have done the Scottish, because obviously Tennant didn't when he was 10, whereas Capaldi did. Sylvester did his regular accent. So yeah, like we've had Scottish Doctors, and obviously Shooty kind of did. But Shooty's kind of got an amalgamation accent anyway, because obviously he has like been around people with like all sorts of accents throughout his career. So, would he have done the Scottish? I don't know. But another Doctor Who alum who was almost the Doctor, Bill Nighy. As in, like, obviously he was in Doctor Who as well. Later on in Vincent and the Doctor, he obviously played the museum curator who was talking very, very highly of Vincent, and then obviously got to meet him. So he was almost the Doctor, and I think he would have brought a pretty decent spin to it as well, because I really enjoy him as an actor. Like, obviously, looking at his work as Davy Jones in the Pirates of the Caribbean movies, like, I think he would have been an interesting choice. I'm so glad we got Chris Eccleston. But obviously, he had a tumultuous time on set. He felt like he couldn't bring any part of himself to the Doctor. He felt very much that he couldn't be himself. He very much felt like, he couldn't have any artistic creativity. And that's not what you want in an acting role, is it? That's not what you want. What you want is to be able to take this role and make it your own, but also, still have that respect for it. Because I feel that he has a huge respect for the role. But obviously, T. Davis was apparently a little bit too protective of the character of the Doctor and wouldn't let him make any kind of artistic choices thereabouts, which I get because, it's the first go round with him as showrunner. But at the same time, you got to let your actors have the freedom. But yeah, so there was apparently, Julie Gardner, Jane Tranter, as Chris Eccleston says, sack Jane Tranter, sack Russell T Davies, sack Julie Gardner, and I'll come back. Do we need to do that so Chris Eccleston will come back? Please, 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 someone in the BBC, please. I do love T Davis, but yeah, I really want to see Chris come back. I think he was a phenomenal Doctor. And this has been my rant on who could have potentially played the Ninth Doctor. Who would you like to have seen take on the legendary TARDIS console?